defense team is reportedly planning a longer cross-examination for Stormy Daniels after her initial testimony. Now, during her first day on the stand, Stormy Daniels made contradictory statements involving the intent behind releasing her story. First, she said she didn't care about the money, but later she testified that she wanted to make money off of her story. She also admitted to hating the former president. And Trump's defense team eventually requested a mistrial, arguing that her testimony was too prejudicial. But Judge Juan Merchan ultimately shot that down, despite admitting parts of her testimony were unnecessary and irrelevant. Texas Senator Ted Cruz says all of this is unfair to Trump. Listen.
He can't get a fair trial in New York. This judge is a hard left partisan. This prosecutor is a hard left partisan. The last trial in New York, the judge was a hard left partisan. The prosecutor was a hard left partisan. And I got to say, look, the judge yesterday was talking about throwing Donald Trump in jail because he's daring to exercise his First Amendment rights and speak out.
Meanwhile, Trump's defense team is now asking a New York appeals court to issue an expedited ruling on that gag order that limits what he can say about witnesses in the trial. His team is asking to rule on the constitutionality of the gag order. Trump says, quote, "It is hard to sit back and listen to lies and false statements be made against you, knowing that if you respond even in the most modest fashion, you were told by a corrupt and highly conflicted judge that you will be put in prison, maybe for a long period of time." Judge Merchan has already held Trump in contempt over 10 social media posts he made during the trial and fined him $10,000. He warned future violations could result in jail time.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. One of you lies down while the other lies a lot. You both are horsing around with the truth, but you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
That's a good day, sir. You are horsing around with the truth, horse face, and we will show you the truth today. We are very, very, very uplifted this morning. Things are going quite well. And so let's keep a stiff upper lip and let's head into today, Thursday, May 9th, 2024. Michael Cohen referred to the DOJ for criminal prosecution, baby. Ooh, how the turntables turn. Stormy Daniels back on the stable or stand after derailing trial in a tire fire of testimony. Congressman Greg Stube joins the show. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Ladies and gentlemen, every single morning I wake up to my 3 beautiful children. I have 3 kids under the ages of 3, and they completely mog me. And I couldn't imagine my life without them. It is actually a major motivator for why we do the program here. We are a program that wishes to defend and protect life, and that is why we love partnering with people who are aligned in that mission. Preborn is an organization that is aligned in that mission. Preborn is the largest pro-life organization in the country that sponsors ultrasounds for clinics in the highest abortion areas. When a mother is considering an abortion and needs to see an ultrasound of her baby, sometimes that can be prohibitively expensive. Preborn covers that. She can hear the heartbeat. And ladies and gentlemen, we need a nation that protects life. We actually, I would be totally okay with 1 billion Americans. I mean, there's like an argument on the internet, like, should there be 1 billion Americans? It's like 1 billion people in India. There's 1 billion people in China. Should there be 1 billion Americans? Legally, yes. Why aren't there 1 billion Americans? Because we don't support life. We must have a culture of life in this country. We should incentivize parenthood. And we should cherish the people who take, obviously, that step. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in fighting by sponsoring 1, 2, or 3, or 200 ultrasounds. The gifts are tax deductible. To donate today, dial pound 250 and say the word baby. That's pound 250, say the word baby, or visit preborn.com/Benny, preborn.com/Benny to save a life today. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's say that your life was on the line, all right? Let's say that you had a big trial and you were in a court of law and you were fighting for your life. The eyes of the country, nay, the world, were upon you. And you had to present your case in court, and you had to call your star witness to the stand. And you ushered in your witness through the court. And you said, "Here, judge, I present to you the witness that shall prove my case." And the star witness looked like this. This was the guy. This is the guy that you ushered forward into the court. to say, look, world, we have a case. I bring to you the knights of the very, very round, very sad table. Here, ladies and gentlemen, we have Michael Cohen. This is a man who was Donald Trump's sleazebag lawyer for a long time. Listen, say what you will. If you're in the celebrity business, you need a cleanup guy. These are the kind of guys that have zero morals. They're the guys who will turn in a second, right, on you, on anyone for an extra buck, okay? And Michael Cohen is here, ladies and gentlemen, turning on Donald Trump. And what he's been doing throughout this entire trial is doing absurd lives where he tries to grift off of this. He's been collecting donations because of what he's been doing to Trump. Now, we're starting to sense a trend here. The judge's daughter accepts donations for what she's doing to Trump. So the judge's daughter has been fundraising for the better part of the last decade on trying to put Donald Trump in prison. She's raised hundreds of millions of dollars based on SEC reports on doing that. The judge's daughter is a person who has donated to Joe Biden's campaign. The judge himself has donated to Joe Biden's campaign. And now Michael Cohen is trying to make money off of this. Stormy Daniels, on the other hand, has lost in court and owes Donald Trump over $500,000 that she doesn't have. Stormy Daniels, of course, is somebody who is a repugnant individual. And these are the two people, the two pillars that Alvin Bragg has rested his entire case on. And by the way, if you're Alvin Bragg and you're resting somewhere, you better have a very strong pillar to rest on. You know what I mean? You don't want to, you don't want that. So you have this situation where the entire event that is happening in New York is crumbling, and it's hysterical. Now, yesterday we used the term tire fire, and I saw some people in the comment section being like, "Yo, what? Like that's funny. What do you mean by that?" This is what I mean by that. This is what I mean by tire fire. Is you go to Wikipedia, you type in tire fire, and you find that there are these like burn pits in the around the world where all the world's used tires go, and in order to get rid of these this rubber, they actually light them on fire. This happens in Kuwait. This happens in the Mideast. So they go to these desolate places where nobody wants to live and nobody wants to breathe the air, and they light tires on fire, and you can see the flames from space. So the International Space Station swoops around the Mideast, and you can actually see the black flames from space from the tire fire. And that's the trial in New York right now. This is the trial in New York. The entire country, the entire world can see the black, ashen, putrid, despicable, noxious fumes of what the Biden regime is trying to do to Donald Trump in New York. It's embarrassing. You can see it from space. Okay? Everyone can see it. Now, it would take seeing this from space for Republicans in Congress to do anything about it. Luckily, ladies and gentlemen, Republicans in Congress are finally actually trying to do something about it. Republicans in Congress are now referring the star witness, the knight of the very round table, Michael Cohen, to the DOJ for prison. Why? Well, for the same reason that Democrats have referred Steve Bannon for prison, Peter Navarro for prison. The guy lied under oath, refused to comply with subpoenas in Congress, and, well, this is a very, very good thing. Let's read, ladies and gentlemen. Here's our top story of the day. DOJ urged to probe Trump fixer Michael Cohen for lying to Congress 6 times. Former Trump lawyer fixer Michael Cohen got slapped Wednesday with another criminal referral to the Justice Department. The House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer urged the DOJ to investigate Cohen for lying to Congress 6 times in 2019. We again request the Department of Justice investigate whether Mr. Cohen's testimony warrants a charge. Now, this is a really interesting tactic. Let's take a step back and ask why. In a really, really interesting turn of events, similar to the end of The Godfather, every person who decided to testify against Joe Biden wound up in prison. Isn't that shocking? Even the guys who are paid FBI informants wound up in prison. Nobody ever wound up in prison for lying to the federal government with the PP dossier, with Hillary Clinton, and her attempts to rig the election. She did the exact same thing. She did a much worse thing. Hillary Clinton had to pay $100,000 in fines, never had to go to trial, but had to pay a bunch of fines for misappropriating campaign funds. This is what they're trying to get Trump on. Nobody ever went to prison. All the people who testify against Joe Biden, boom, every single one of them, jail immediately. Devin Archer, the FBI guy, all of them, boom, jail immediately. Michael Cohen, ladies and gentlemen, they are now saying, obviously lied to Congress. That's a crime. Let's lock him up. Huh? Republicans on the Judiciary Committee asked the DOJ in 2019 to investigate Cohen over the testimony that he delivered to the panel in February. Feds declined to take up the referral at the time. 6 alleged infractions include Cohen claiming that he hadn't tried to get a job in Donald Trump's White House, the insistence that he hadn't called for the creation of a social media account, Women for Cohen, denying any business, and so on and so on and so on. Not a good thing to lie to Congress. Crime to lie to Congress. Crime punishable by like 5 years, up to 5 years per lie. Get called to Congress, don't lie. Okay, better just take the fifth. But Michael Cohen is a known liar, a committed and convicted perjurer. This guy's just a scumbag, okay? He's just a dirty, filthy lawyer. Now you could say Donald Trump shouldn't have hired this guy. Donald Trump, when he was working with him, was Celebrity Apprentice, was Hollywood celebrity, like these guys, these Hollywood scumbag lawyers. Hunter Biden has like a Hollywood scumbag lawyer. Remember Hunter Biden crashes the hearing about himself? This is like these scumbag, these dirtbag attorneys. I mean, they're really, literally the scum of the earth. And sometimes you need guys like that if you're at a certain level of celebrity. I'm not trying to explain it. I don't think it's a good thing. But it is what it is. It's the same thing as the nuisance lawsuits. It is the way the world works. I wish we lived in a perfect world. I wish we lived in the Garden of Eden. But ladies and gentlemen, we unfortunately don't. Now, what will happen next? Will the DOJ put Michael Cohen in jail and stop him from preventing in this trial? No, I wouldn't put my money on it. But is this something that is obviously going to hurt the prosecution and result in a hung jury? Not to get Stormy Daniels excited or anything. Yeah, definitely, absolutely will. These witnesses that they're calling, they only have 2-star witnesses. All the witnesses have been very good for Donald Trump. They have 2-star witnesses, Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen. And they're both like such duplicitous garbage. They're just garbage fit for the tire fire pile. Here's Michael Cohen admitting to lying under oath. Let's go.
I've been convicted on 5 counts of tax evasion.
You stood before multiple congressional committees before today and raised your right hand and swore an oath to be honest. And you lied to those congressional committees. Is that correct?
Previously?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
A reporter for the magazine Vanity Fair has reported that she interviewed you the very next day on February 14th, 2018, about the payment and reimbursement. And she wrote, quote, "Last February 14th, I interviewed Cohen in his office about the statement he gave the FEC in which he said Trump didn't know about the Stormy payment or reimburse him for it. Do you recall this meeting with the reporter?"
I do.
Okay. I have been convicted of lying 1,700 times. Star witness, Biden. Star witness. I love this guy. Love this guy. Finally, a guy that I can relate with. Michael Cohen, again, fundraising off of all this. It really is remarkable. Like, what a cottage industry it is to go and prosecute Donald Trump and then make a fortune off it. And I'm not talking about selling mugshots, okay? Although I do love that mugshot. I do. I love that. I love that mugshot. It's mad. You don't get the scale. It's a big mugshot. It's 4 feet tall. It's big mugshot. We have a real studio. We have like a practical effects, not a green screen. It's a big mugshot. We can make it bigger though. Make it bigger. Maybe we get an 8-foot tall one. Maybe we just do the whole wall as mugshot. This Christmas, I actually bought some of the Trump wrapping paper with the mugshot on it. Did you? We have shirts with the mugshot on it. I love that mugshot. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these people. I'm talking about this. Here's Michael Cohen on TikTok. He's raising money. Okay, so on TikTok, you can donate and you raise money on TikTok. Here he is trashing MAGA on TikTok. He's a star witness. Here you go.
He's MAGA scared. Donald's scared, and he's every right to be. Let me tell you something. This process, I I don't care how tough you think that you are. You're this big. Literally this big. When the system comes after you, you are this big. Almost as big as Donald's mushroom pack.
Is that yeah, it's just like an episode of Law and Order, A Few Good Men. This is just like, it's exactly what I've always wanted. It's exactly what I've always saw in the American legal system. You remember that episode of Law and Order where the witness kept going on TikTok, putting on cartoon helmets with rap music and a bunch of GIFs all over his face and talking about putting the people that he's testifying against in prison? Remember that? Remember the upstanding star witnesses, the bravery? It's like Aaron Brockovich. Really, it's unbelievable. Here we go. Here's the t-shirt that he wore last night on TikTok. Here, he wore a t-shirt of Donald Trump behind bars. There's a screenshot of his TikTok last night from ALX. Here he is. TikTok, so he can do this. So he can do that. Like, consider this. Consider the world. Consider the landscape here. So this guy, this jackwagon, can go and wear a shirt of Donald Trump in prison and can fundraise, but Donald Trump's not allowed to say his name. Donald Trump's not allowed to talk. He's not allowed to talk about this guy. Do you like UFC? You ever been to UFC? Eric's here in the studio. Eric likes UFC. Eric likes Sugar Sean. And if you went to a UFC match, which we actually intend to do, we know when his next fight is, and your favorite fighter had their hands duct taped together and they were brought in the middle of the ring, and Dana White allowed not only like the fighter, but like his entire team to come out and start punching him, and he couldn't fight back, hands duct taped behind his back, you'd say, that's not fair. That's garbage. Why did I pay money for this? I think I might file a legal action. I think you've defrauded me. This isn't a fair fight. They've gagged Donald Trump for talking about this guy. This guy can wear a shirt of Donald Trump behind bars and fundraise off it, and Donald Trump ain't allowed to talk about it. So Donald Trump is appealing his gag order. So Trump, breaking news this morning, has requested an expedited appeal of the gag order so Trump can actually defend himself against these mongoloids. Here we go.
Thank you very much. What Biden is doing with respect to Israel is disgraceful. If any Jewish person voted for Joe Biden, they should be ashamed of themselves. He's totally abandoned Israel, and nobody can believe it. I guess he feels good about it because he did it as a political decision. You have to do the right decision, not the political decision, but he did a very bad thing. I just want to let you know that we've just filed a major motion in the appellate division concerning the absolutely unconstitutional gag order, where I'm essentially not allowed to talk to you about anything meaningful that's going on in the case, and many good things are going on with the case. It shouldn't have been filed. They had this morning the top legal scholars in the country. This is a Frankenstein case. They took a dead misdemeanor, they attached it to a dead alleged federal felony and zapped it back into life. So many of us are just amazed to watch this actually walk into court because it's not a recognizable crime that any of us have seen. It's Jonathan Turley. I've been doing this for 60 years and I don't understand what crime he's been charged with. Nobody understands this. I just don't get the crime. There's no evidence of any crime whatsoever. This is a sham. That's Alan Dershowitz. And these are people that they speak their minds. They're not for me, they're for justice. This is another one. This is without precedent in American history, only with the desperation of President Joe Biden and his fanatic left-wing enforcers did it become possible to think about arresting and jailing their major political opponent. This case must be taken out of Judge Merchan's hands because he's totally conflicted. Judge Merchan is totally conflicted, like probably no judge has ever been conflicted before. Here's another one, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. His prosecution of former President Donald Trump violates both the federal and state constitutions. This is a prosecutor making it up as he goes along. Due process worthy of the names does not tolerate that. So these are statements. This is Andrew McCarthy made that statement. Highly respected. A judge is allowing wide scope of information that has absolutely nothing to do with the case. That's Rebecca Rosewood on Fox News. Today we have Rick Scott here, Senator Rick Scott. We have other politicians here. We have people, many people in support. The outside of this building is closed down like Fort Knox. Nobody's ever seen. We have so many police down here, New York's finest, and they are New York's finest. They're just told what to do, but they don't have them at Columbia. They don't have them at NYU or any other places. This is like an armed camp down here, and you have nothing to worry about. Believe me, your problem is from the left, it's not from the right. Big problem from the left. It's from within our country. That's a bigger, in my opinion, a bigger danger than China or Russia. You have it from the outside and you have it from within. From within is a bigger danger to our country, and it's from the left, not from the right. But Rick Scott's here, and he said you can't go after political persecutions. This is a shame. This should not be happening in our country. And Senator Ted Cruz put out a very strong statement about attacking Donald Trump and the American voter. It's an attack on both. This is purely and simply election interference. There is no case. So that's the way it is. But here we sit after 2.5 weeks. And I think you'll see some very revealing things today. And I want to thank my lawyers. They've done a very good job, but I'd rather thank them after it's over as opposed to now, because we don't want them to get carried away. There's no case. Should have never been brought. Alvin Bragg didn't want to bring it. Cy Vance didn't want to bring it, and he didn't. He left. He didn't bring it. Everybody's looked at it. Southern District didn't bring it. Federal elections didn't bring it. It's also a federal case, not a state case, which they're not allowed to do, but these are minor details. So I just want to thank you for being here, and we'll see you later in the afternoon. Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. I should always sort of let you know when it's going to be a longer clip. You know the show, the policy that we will have on this program. That was Donald Trump from this morning. He did break the news that they are now appealing to the removal of his gag order, but I always try and explain that it's going to be a longer clip because we're not going to censor the president, right? Like everyone else. You know, this is the tactic now. When we watch these tactics, we have a singular superpower on this program. We are live. We pay attention. Pattern recognition. This is what we do here. And so the pattern that we've recognized is that in 2016, less so in 2020, but never in 2024, the strategy has been never let Trump speak. Don't let him on the airwaves. Don't let him talk. We have too many examples to line up for you, but you'll notice every single time Donald Trump gives a speech, CNN cuts away, MSNBC cuts away. And these people, the pundits immediately begin pontificating about like, oh, this is what Donald Trump meant. Oh, this is what he meant. We're not allowed to let him speak. We won't let him speak. We have a clip. Let's load up this clip. It was from this weekend. It's amazing. On MSNBC, there's like some doofus, some slob on MSNBC being like, Joe Biden shouldn't debate Donald Trump. Why would you give him the platform to debate Donald Trump? Like, it's amazing. Like, the strategy is so obvious. The strategy is so laid bare now. Don't give Donald Trump any oxygen. Anyway, I don't mean to go off on a separate tangent. We have more to talk. We have too much to talk about today. But that's why we will play Donald Trump. We'll carry his speeches live. We'll play Donald Trump when he talks. We hope you appreciate that, because virtually no one else is doing it. And so we're trying to counter that strategy. So anyway, I should have told you this 4-minute clip. That's ultimately the point of this rant. I'm not the only person ranting, ladies and gentlemen. Hillary Clinton is ranting as well. Hillary Clinton, you're going to love this. You know, it is like a perfect clip to play back to back. Donald Trump heading into court for a fake case with a fake judge who donated to Joe Biden, who's a Stalinist. These people are Stalinists. Try not to yell. Ben, don't yell. Stalinist! These people, it's a fake judge, it's a fake court, it's a fake charge. It is going to have an intended result of simply keeping Donald Trump off the campaign trail. And Hildebeest, fresh off of the failure of her intersectional feminist Broadway show, decides to crawl out from under a rock somewhere and then claim that Donald Trump is going to try and jail his political opponents. Where's my where's the stress ball? Where's the pillow I can scream into? I don't actually. Poor Eric's looking around. I don't actually have a stress ball. We should get one. Ladies and gentlemen, Hillary Clinton has the bloody cheek to go on to national TV and to complain about how Donald Trump, who's in court just down the street from her, as Joe Biden's trying to jail Donald Trump, that Donald Trump will be the one trying to jail his political opponents. There is no other word for it. It is the banality of evil. These people, they're evil. It's Old Testament evil. Okay, it's Old Testament evil. It's Sodom and Gomorrah. There's no other way to speak it. I don't know how they live with themselves. I'm not sure. Every mirror they look into either shatters or they can't see their reflection. These people are vampires. They're evil. Watch.
A determined demagogue, unfortunately supported by members of his political party, other enablers, people who care more about a future tax cut than the sanctity of the Constitution, are falling in line behind him. They are trying to excuse some of the most outrageous things that you just recited. And I don't think the press has done enough to basically say, okay, the circus is here. You can watch the circus, but let's tell you what that means. Let's talk to people who have a real understanding of how dictatorships evolve. Let's look at the people that he admires and what they've already done. You know, back in 2016, we didn't have interviews with him. We didn't have a track record of 4 years in office. You know, there was a lot of speculation. And, you know, I understood that people wouldn't take what I said necessarily as gospel about what I thought could happen. I get that. But now we know. We've seen him and we've heard him. And so we need to do a better job of making it absolutely clear that someone who says these things, you know, maybe he wouldn't jail all of his political opponents. One is one too many. Maybe he wouldn't try to force out of business the, you know, members of the press who didn't agree with him. One is one too many. We go down the line. And maybe this would be our last election, because someone who will not accept the validity of an election is someone who doesn't believe in elections. He believes in his own power, his own right to power, and his demand that he be installed regardless of whether he gets the votes or not.
I'm sitting here watching the comment section, screaming with you. I'm watching the comment section, screaming with you. Producer ALX is like, wait a second, this should have been a salty lib. Don't worry, we have salty libs for you later on the program. Hillary Clinton saying somebody won't accept the results of an election? Hillary Clinton saying that? Hillary Clinton saying you're going to lock up your political opponents? I guess it's better than, you know, sending them to Hillary Clinton's favorite little sleeper cell inside of the federal penitentiary in Manhattan. I suppose that's better, but they want to kill Donald Trump anyway. They want to get rid of Donald Trump's Secret Service. So you're going to get Arkancided no matter what. This kind of stuff is wild. I just don't know how else to explain it. We do have a verse of the day on the program all the time. There's no other lens to look at it through other than a spiritual lens. It's just evil. Satan's the author of all lies. It's demonic. To lie, like the worst lies you tell are the lies to yourself. Could you imagine being Hillary Clinton and spending the better part of the last 8.5 years mewling and bitching and griping and moaning that you're the president? That you're the president? She said it. She said it so many times. She said, I'm the rightful president. We have the supercut of it. And she's going to go, imagine the world that you must live, imagine the world you can live in. It's unsustainable. It's unsustainable. You must have shared truth in a society. Hillary Clinton going on air and saying that Donald Trump won't accept the results of an election, that he'll claim to be president when he's not, that he'll lock up his political enemies. I mean, guys, like, look in the mirror. It'll shatter. Look in the mirror. It'll shatter. Hillary, look in a mirror. Woof. Either that or you won't see your reflection because you're a vampire. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just a simple Christian, and you read about Satan, and you read about how Satan is simply the author of all lies. seeks to kill and destroy, and you just can't. You just gotta you gotta align those things. How do you get away with? How do you do it? How do you wake up in the morning? I don't know. How do you wake up in the morning? I don't know. But I do know this, that Hillary Clinton wouldn't be trotting out on MSNBC's morning show if they weren't terrified of what's happening right now. They see the poll numbers. They see that nobody's buying this. And then they see that they've overplayed their hand. Now, we had Trump's attorney on yesterday, Christina Bobb. And I think I have an announcement for you today. ALX, tell me if I'm wrong. I think we have a big announcement for tomorrow with another Trump attorney coming on the program. I'll let producer ALX let me know if I can announce our guests early. And so, yes, Alina Habba on the program tomorrow. We're very excited about that. Please tune in. So we'll have Alina Habba on the program. We'll be here to obviously defend the president when he can't talk, when he can't speak himself. He's not allowed to speak. But you can begin to see the cracks in the facade. You are beginning to see how terrified they are that they're losing. And more importantly, that they've already lost. We'll get to the Biden CNN interview that made all the news last night later in the show, but they've already lost. What is going on now? And what you're starting to see are the stages of grief. And you're in the denial stage, okay? No, Grandpa's still with me. Like you're in the denial stage. And they're starting to realize that they ran a dementia patient for the last 5 years in the White House as a meat puppet to Obama, and it's not work. It's it's actually going worse than Obama's terms were. And they're starting to realize that they failed. And so the best thing that they can do now is arbitrage and try and stop Trump from becoming even more popular. Trump's going to win. Trump's going to win. And he's going to be even more popular. So the fix is already in to just try and kneecap his next term. This is how you get clips like this. This is the clip that I asked for about the debates. And there's a clip from from this weekend, where some doofus slob on MSNBC is having a apoplectic seizure over the idea of Donald Trump debating Joe Biden, just making the argument. This guy's supposed to be a member of the press. I didn't know who this guy is. It looks like I don't know who this guy is, okay? This guy's making the argument. He's a member of the press making the argument that there shouldn't be presidential debates. You're not what the First Amendment was written for, pal. You're just an apparatchik and a toe sucker of power. You're a disgrace. You should be ashamed of yourself. Here we go.
I'm curious for what Jen Psaki's reaction would have been like if she was still in the White House when she heard President Biden blurt out during a live interview that he was going to debate. Because Biden's folks don't want him to debate. They don't want to give Trump that platform and risk exposing Biden like that on national TV.
Except I was thinking if I was in my old job from 2 years ago, you also don't want him to say no because no is weak and no is fear. So you have to say yes.
We'll see. We'll see. What do you think? Let's put up a poll. Do you think that Joe Biden and Donald Trump will debate? Now, Donald Trump has said, very MMA style, right here, right now, anytime, any place, do the debate. Today, Donald Trump said, I'll debate you at the courthouse. Come down. We're both in New York, Joe. Come down and debate. Do you think these debates will happen? Of course, we all believe they should happen, but do you think they will? Will they come up with some reason? Will they come up with some bird flu thing and say, no, Joe Biden gets too risky? I wonder. I really do. I hope they happen. I want them to happen. I want a debate between Trump and Biden. It's 150 days to the election. I want a debate. Let's do 150 debates. I want this. Let's do it Lincoln Douglas style. Let's go to every county and let's have the debate. Ladies and gentlemen, they can't stand on their own merits. They can't stand on their own record. They wilt and wither. Trust me, I do these debate shows with these libs. Destiny goes on Piers Morgan with me and destroy him. It's just so easy. If Republicans just fought fire with fire, it'd be so easy. Oh, yeah, hey, how many grandkids does Joe Biden have? Let's start with that. You're calling Joe Biden a decent man? How many grandkids he got? Anything? No? Does he beat his dog? Does he shower with his daughter? How many, does he bail his dirtbag son out of prison every time he gets a chance? He's been doing that for Hunter since Hunter was 18. That was the first time Hunter Biden was booked in jail. You gotta call Joe Biden decent with me. Please. Please, shadow boxing, so easy, okay? So easy to destroy these people, and they know it. And so let's have the debates. I really hope that it happens. The poll is up. Will it happen? Ladies and gentlemen, they can't stand on their own. They can't stand on their own. Stormy Daniels goes up and takes the stand. She's apparently on the stand right now. Okay, so here's the live article. Donald Trump, Stormy Daniels defends real sex in her adult film career. Got it. Such moral people, such good people. It really is remarkable if you even like crack open and peer just a little bit into the blackness that is the Hunter Biden laptop. How despicable the Biden family is. Do you know that Hunter Biden was kicked out of a sex club? Like a satanic sex club in LA because he was too much of a monster? Do you know this? That the sex club owner is testified against Hunter Biden, saying that he's a monster and isn't allowed inside of his satanic sex club? Do you know that? This is immoral people. This is restoring decency, okay? This guy's at the White House Easter egg roll, like patting kids on the head. Just an aside. Sometimes you just know too much, right? Or you just read the legal filings. Okay, so Stormy Daniels was on the stage yesterday and was on the stand yesterday, in the stable, we might say, and didn't do great. Okay, like didn't have a great performance. In fact, everybody in the press who was in the courtroom were like, trial's over. So what you're doing is you're proving malice, and you're proving ill intent towards the accused. You're saying you hate them, and that's not going to go well with the jury. Okay? Here's the summary of what happened with Stormy Daniels. She's on the stand right now.
Now, she also admits to hating Trump and previously posting online, calling him an orange turd. During one exchange, Trump attorney Susan Necheles asked Daniels, quote, "You despise him and make fun of him." Daniels responded, "Because he started it." Daniels testified how she met Trump at a celebrity golf tournament. She then went into great detail explaining how they allegedly had sex. Trump's lawyers, as you mentioned, asked for a mistrial, arguing the jury heard damaging testimony completely unrelated to the charges that Trump faces. Judge Juan Merchan agreed the testimony went too far, but ultimately denied that request for a mistrial. And Trump posted on Truth Social today, quote, "It is a really bad feeling to have your constitutional right to free speech, such a big part of life in our country, so unfairly taken from you, especially when all of the sleazebags, lowlifes, and grifters that you oppose are allowed to say absolutely anything that they want."
There are people who are defending Donald Trump, very smart people. Jonathan Turley is one of our favorite legal experts, professor. He's written a ton of papers. He has his own Substack where he pontificates on the legal. He's not MAGA, okay? Let's just call it what it is. He's just like a clear-eyed legal scholar. Jonathan Turley saying the judge has every right to dismiss this case now after hearing the Stormy Daniels tire fire lot lizard testimony. You got to get rid of it. You got to get rid of it. Here we go.
I mean, we've been saying all along that we still don't even know what the crime being alleged here is. I mean, this trial is so bizarre because you still have a debate going on 2 weeks into the trial of what exactly Trump was trying to cover up as a crime. That puts aside all the weird ways that they use two dead misdemeanors and zap them back into life under this theory. So if he's going to let that go forward, he's going to let this go forward. But the judge had to know what was going to happen with Stormy Daniels on the stand. He was warned. He overruled objections. And now he says, well, you know, I really regret that. I'm shocked that I had a porn star in my courtroom. That's not going to work. Now, has he committed reversible error? In my view, he has, even before Stormy Daniels took the stand. Can he rescue the trial through instructions? Probably not. But, you know, when the prosecution rests, the defense will stand up and ask for the dismissal of this case. That will be the next major opportunity for him to do the right thing.
So, okay, you're going to sit there and tell me, I don't care who this guy is, Benny. That's Fox News. Fox News and Trump had kind of like a bit of a adversarial, but now Fox News is like going back, right? Trump's our boy, okay? Trump's on the airwaves all the time, right? Fox calling in, Sean's show. You're going to say, that's Fox News. They're going to have a bias, okay? Show me a salty lib over on CNN. And I'm going to tell you that I can't. Why? Of course there's salty libs on CNN, you'll say. And I'll say, dear viewer, sweet prince, sweet friend, my brother in Christ, CNN was actually harsher on Stormy Daniels than Fox was. CNN and their legal experts had a more rip-roaring takedown of this case than Fox did. What? I can prove it. Here we go.
The cross-exam, boy, her responses were disastrous. I mean, do you hate Donald Trump? Yes, of course she does. That's a big deal. When the witness hates the person whose liberty is at stake, that's a big damn deal. And she's putting out tweets, fantasizing about him being in jail. That really undermines the credibility. The fact that she owes him $500,000, she, by order of a court, owes Donald Trump $500,000 and said, I will never pay him. I will defy a court order. The defense is going to say she's willing to defy a court order. Why? She's not willing to respect an order of a judge. Why is she going to respect this oath she took? So I thought it went quite poorly on cross-exam. At the end of direct, I thought, okay, they got what they needed, but I think the cross is making real inroads.
How in trouble is this? Many legal experts are saying, listen, you're going to, at the very least, you're going to have a hung jury here. And you're going to have like a number of jurors, even from the Upper East Side of Manhattan, being like, that was not, there's no way. And the jury's going to be split and they're just going to like toss it. That's what you're going to get. The strategy here is, of course, going to be to draw this out as long as possible to keep Donald Trump off the campaign trail. Now, who could possibly defend Donald Trump worse than a Democrat-appointed judge? Like, imagine this. Imagine you're a judge, you're appointed by Democrats, you are a Democrat, and you're a federal judge, and you're brought on CNN of all places. Who do you think that person is going to be in the bag for? You think that person is going to defend Donald Trump? There's no way that clip exists, right? Oh, we are living in strange times. Watch former federal judge, Democrat, appointed by Democrats, defend Donald Trump on CNN and say, this case is a tire fire.
The material that came in was not relevant to this criminal case at all. And I think it shows that she was trying to get Trump. I actually thought there was a motive there. She said she hates him. She said she'd like to see him in prison. I think she was purposely throwing out this stuff to make sure the jurors were prejudiced, particularly the women jurors, but probably half of the men too, were really put off.
Ooh, baby. Oh my goodness. So they're coming back for more Stormy Daniels today. So bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. So we'll see what happens. Again, I'll tell you what's about to happen. We have a good, not because we're particularly smart, just because our superpower is paying attention, being alive, pattern recognition. What's going on here is they never had a case. They're going to try and keep Donald Trump off the campaign trail. They're going to try and silence Donald Trump about this case. So these are the intended goals. Get ready. The judge is going to declare a mistrial. The judge is going to declare a mistrial, and he's going to say, no, we're going to have to retry this thing all through the summer. All right? They're going to try not to let it go to the jury, because the jury is going to be like, this is garbage, right? Even like the MSNBC and CNN watchers are going to watch that. They're not supposed to watch TV, but anyway, they're going to watch that. They're going to be like, what the hell's going on here? And Donald Trump's going to be acquitted again. Mark my words. The goal, the strategy here now is to keep Trump off the campaign trail. Now, ladies and gentlemen, joining the program is somebody who has campaigned with Donald Trump in very forceful fashion, somebody who has been a backer of Donald Trump from the get. Somebody who comes from the great state of Florida, who has been on the trail with the president, on stage with the president, and who doesn't have a gag order. Got to tell you, I've met Congressman Greg Stube a number of times, and I don't think it'd be a smart idea to try and choke this guy out. Just personal anecdote there. Ladies and gentlemen, joining the program now, Congressman Stube. Congressman, again, not a good idea to choke you out. I don't think people understand that you're like 6'6".
Not that big, but I did spend some time in the infantry in the army, so some good training there.
So you're not gagged. You don't have a court order that you can't. Nobody's trying to infringe on your freedom of speech. You travel with the president.
you never know. That's why I will never step foot in New York, because they'll just take your rights away.
That's exactly correct, right? Donald Trump says if I fly over a blue state, I get indicted. So stay in Florida, stay in still in a free state, and you have the capacity to defend Donald Trump. You've been on the road with him. This must repulse you, as it does, I think, the vast majority of the country. My contention here is that it backfired. Looking at the recent polls, do you agree with that?
Yeah, and I also look at it from the legal lens, because I used to practice law before I got elected to Congress, and it's a dumpster fire, all created by Democrats. And you're right, this was all, they don't really care if he gets convicted. They would love for him to get convicted and go to jail. That's their ultimate goal. But their intention was to keep him off the campaign trail and have him spend millions upon millions of dollars defending himself, everywhere from Florida with the classified documents case to Georgia in that case, and New York in this case. And so let's just file all these suits against him, go after him criminally wherever we can. It'll keep him off the campaign trail and make him spend millions of dollars. But what's interesting, what my concern is here is, I hope and I pray that this jury is not going to be political in their decision. New York's 85% Democrat, and I hope they're going to look at all this the way a jury should look at this and be like, this is insane. Like, this woman, Stormy Daniels, said that she had this affair, then sign an affidavit that she didn't have the affair, and then that's like the crux of this testimony. And what they're trying him on isn't actually a crime. You can do non-disclosure agreements all day long. If your lawyer is handling that, that's what happens in the business world. Who knows how much knowledge he had of what was actually going on. Michael Cohen, their other star witness, we just did a referral. Jim Jordan and Comer and the House did a referral for all the lies that he did in his testimony before Congress. And he's a convicted liar. He's actually been convicted and gone to jail for lying. And those are their two star witnesses in this case. So you hope that the jury is going to see through all of the BS and the partisanship here. And what's really scary as an American is that you are witnessing the full-on weaponization of the federal government, where they are using the tools in the criminal justice system to go after their political opponent 6 months before an election. This is stuff you see in Venezuela.
And so it's like, as you're talking through this, right? Like, you're a member of Congress. You're somebody who sits on the Ways and Means Committee, the Select Subcommittee on Weaponization of the federal government. You're a very powerful person. You're a very smart person. You're an accomplished person, and yet you're sitting here talking about a porn star, like some slop from 10 years ago. Right. Why they waited to bring this, I don't know. If it was such a heinous crime, but here we are. This is the point. Isn't that the point? The point is that you and I have to talk about this, and we don't talk about Joe Biden.
Well, and you're allowing her. They knew she was going to talk about all these made up details of whatever this alleged affair is that they had, and anything to drag Trump through the mud, on top of trying to take his rights away, on top of gagging him and not allowing him to speak. Yet Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen can say all this crazy crap online, on Twitter, and everywhere else. It's just atrocious as an American that you're seeing this happen, from the political standpoint, from the legal standpoint, and from the fact that the government has been completely weaponized against Donald Trump from the beginning. This is the same federal government that spied on his campaign, that went after him, that used the criminal justice system through FISA, which I voted against reauthorizing, by the way, and how that got passed under a Republican House. That's a whole nother story for another day. But like how the federal government is using its power to go after its political opponent. And I hope the majority of Americans, I think they do. I think people that don't pay attention to the news, I think they see this for what it is, which is why each time he gets indicted, or each time something happens in one of these court cases, his numbers skyrocket, because everyday Americans know it's a bunch of crap. And they know that it's just Joe Biden and Democratic attorney generals in these states going after him because they can, and there's no check and balances in those states. And I submit to you, if there's not crazy cheating in some of these states, I think his numbers are going to be astronomical. If you look at his polling, he's doing phenomenal in states that he didn't do phenomenal the last time, and in states that are swing states. So the American people, everyday Americans, see this for what it is, and that's what's going to blow up in these Democrats' face.
I believe it. I see a path to a 100-point election landslide. Like, I really do. I see the path to a victory on election night, especially given some of the laws that Georgia just signed, the watermarking of the ballots, the return dates, the 100% voter ID, Georgia finally following the footsteps of the great state of Florida in getting their elections done. It really is remarkable living here in Florida, because it's like election night, it's 7 o'clock, and you know who won. It's incredible. It's amazing. It might not have been the person you liked, but like, you know, the system worked, right?
You know, like an hour after the polls close, they immediately run all the absentee ballots and early voting ballots. You'll get that number like 25 to 30 minutes after. And by an hour in, everybody in the state of Florida, including like the presidential levels where they've, you know, taken all the different data from all the different counties, we know the results. And that tells you that there's not shenanigans going on here. And then in states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, where like 600,000 or 300,000 ballots show up at 3 o'clock in the morning, there's a lot of suspicion there that there's a lot of things going on that shouldn't be going on. And again, the American people see that for what it is. Why can we have states like Florida, you know the results in an hour, and states like New York and California, where it's like 30 days where they can go and harvest ballots after the election?
Yeah. So it's strange, the number. We must just have better plumbing down here, Congressman. Pipes just don't burst in the middle of the election center. You know. It must be bad. I've never heard like stop the count, pipe burst. Got it? Okay. It's like, don't worry, we got better plumbing, if you know what I mean. So, all right, moving to the state of Florida and the legal matters while we're down here, because there are some big Florida questions that are being asked concerning Donald Trump and meeting with Ron DeSantis, Marco Rubio potentially. But I want to talk first about Eileen Cannon, who set the world on fire 24 hours ago. Federal judge here in Florida just asking simple questions of the government, and the government is collapsing. Jack Smith's case is on fire in that courthouse here in Florida, but just having a judge ask a couple of like follow-up questions, like, where did the documents come from? Have you tampered with the evidence? Did the government have all these classified documents before they shoved them into Donald Trump's home? And they don't have answers to it, man. Hey, Jack Smith, are you legal? That's pretty amazing. She's scheduled a hearing on whether Jack Smith is actually like able to do this job as a special counsel. According to Ed Meese, he's not.
Yeah, it's interesting how, as a judge, we saw this in the Hunter Biden case, as a judge, just ask simple questions like, where's the evidence to back this up? What was the, you know, why was all this tampered with? Why did you, Jack Smith, represent to me that this was the exact way it was when you picked it out of Mar-a-Lago and that was a lie? So now you have prosecution lying to the judge in a very obviously high-level serious case, and good on her to follow the law and ask tough questions. Thankfully, in some of these cases, finally, we have a non-corrupt judge that's going to actually follow the law and ask tough questions of the people bringing these ridiculous charges against the president. And underlying all of this, you have, you know, Hillary Clinton, who destroyed servers, and that was fine. You have Joe Biden, who literally had classified documents in his garage, and nothing happens to him. Like, within just the last couple of years, you have the exact same circumstances, and those people don't get prosecuted, but we're going to go after President Trump. It just shows you, again, the complete weaponization and attacking of going after their political opponents and using the judicial system to do it. And I pray that after, and I know he will, after Trump wins, that we are going to clean house in the DOJ and get rid of all these people. And people like Alvin Bragg deserve to be prosecuted for prosecutorial misconduct. They deserve to go to jail for using the justice system illegally and using it to go after their political opponents without evidence that an actual crime even committed. You had Jonathan Turley's clip on earlier. Like, what's the crime? Like, what is it that you're actually trying to prove that this defendant did wrong? And nobody can figure that out.
So can you? I'm not an attorney, right? I went to community college. Okay, so maybe you can elucidate for me, sir. As an attorney, I don't know what kind of law you practice, but I assume you're protecting and defending people, and you know the code of the law. If you go to a crime scene, this is just my basic understanding, but if a law enforcement official goes to a crime scene and then plants evidence on the crime scene or stages the crime scene in a way that would make the accused look more guilty, that's a no-no. Like that's seen as bad. and may actually open up those law enforcement officials to prosecution themselves. Yet here we have Jack Smith admitting in court that they affixed classified document markings on documents that weren't even classified, threw them on the floor, took photographs to leak to the Washington Post. How the hell isn't that tampering and or planting of evidence in order to convict Donald Trump?
Well, and in our law school world, we call that fruit of the poisonous tree. And that evidence now, because it's a fruit of the poisonous tree, all that has to go. None of that can be accepted into the court proceeding. So that's why she's asking these questions, and she shut all this stuff down, because if that did in fact happen, which it clearly looks like it did, then none of that evidence can be admitted. And then therefore, what is it, the crime that you were alleging that has been committed here? So yeah, it's real serious stuff. And I also agree that the individuals that were involved in this, if they broke the law and tampered with evidence, they should be prosecuted for all of this. But under Biden's corrupt DOJ, they're not going to be. All of these individuals like Hunter Biden and all these other things that have gone on, they're not going to be prosecuted. But when Trump becomes president and we have an actual attorney general that wants to follow the law, I hope that all of these people that violated people's First Amendment rights, their constitutional rights, are held accountable.
Yeah, I would just moving from this past the Florida state line to Georgia. If Fanny Willis is on the stand, we've been through this a bunch on this program, so the viewers are very familiar with this. Fanny Willis admits to campaign finance violations, that she spent her own campaign funds, not on her campaign. She admits to lying to the court a bunch of times. She lied about whether she went to the White House. There's a Secret Service record of her at the White House. And then, of course, she misrepresented the entire trial before the court in documents. And so, you know, you gotta ask yourself, like, can you talk me through what should be the penalty for somebody like Fanny Willis?
She perjured herself. She lied under oath, and whatever the state of Georgia is for lying under oath, she should be held accountable for that. So once this all gets through and hopefully Trump gets all this stuff dismissed, then she should be held accountable for that. Just like Alvin Bragg should be held accountable for prosecutorial misconduct. And the people that are involved in this classified documents case, this federal case in Florida, should also be held accountable. And all of these people that were involved in spying on the Trump campaign 4 years ago, none of them have ever been held accountable for any of the things that happened to spy without a warrant on American citizens. So there should be a reckoning to rewrite and reset the justice system in our country back to the way it should be, fair, and a fair and balanced approach to the law. And if you broke the law, whether you're Joe Biden or Hunter Biden or not, you should be held accountable.
Yes. Florida is going to be sort of the center of the political universe, it looks like. Right now, there are a bunch of rising stars out of Florida. You yourself are one of them. You know the nature of the state very well in the political landscape of the state, Congressman. Many are floating Marco Rubio as a potential VP candidate, and we're seeing all the signs, the speeches and the TV hits and everything, and we're hearing a bunch of rumblings from inside of the team. Who knows? Okay, I've been told that everything's up in the air. But your thoughts on that? Given the fact that I guess I guess like somebody would have to move. Can you talk us through like what would happen there? Do you agree, by the way, with that pick?
Well, I don't want to speak for the president at all. I know he's looking at a lot of people, and every name I've heard are all great Americans. But yeah, there's a piece in the Constitution that doesn't allow the president and the vice president to hail from the same state. So I think something would have to happen there if he did pick somebody from Florida. And then that would also cause a lot of other issues too, because Marco's in the middle of his Senate term. So then the governor would have to appoint for the remainder of that term. So that would also cause some issues. We've got a lot of great Americans and leaders in the state of Florida, and that's why the president is looking there. But that is some concerns that he's going to have from a constitutional perspective. But the reason why you're seeing all of these people go to different events and talk on TV about it is Trump isn't involved in the film and entertainment industry. So he's basically looking at all these auditions of people and seeing their performances and how they would actually do in the job. So I think he's taking it all in. I haven't had any conversations with him as to who he's leaning towards or what he's actually thinking. There's a lot of great Americans out there that would do a really good job.
We think that that's what the DeSantis meeting was about. That's what we think. We think the DeSantis meeting is about the appointment of a senator in Marco Rubio's position, and we think it all lines up. And given the slate, we think that'd be a great pick. I mean, quite frankly, I think it'd be very powerful. I would love nothing more than to see that debate between Marco Rubio and Kamala Harris.
That would, I can tell you who's going to win that debate right now. Marco's got that covered.
So, broader picture, we have less than 150 days for the general election. It's wild to think about that. What's the strategy of the campaign? I know you're very close to the president. I know you campaign with the president. I'm sure you plan on campaigning the president, probably speaking at the RNC convention. Can you give us the road ahead?
Yeah, the road ahead, at least from my perspective, is focusing on the swing states. You got to focus on Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona. I think Florida is a solidly red state now. If you look at from 2 years ago, what the results were, DeSantis won by, 1.5 million or 1.2 million votes in the state of Florida after winning by like 30 or 50,000 votes 4 years before that. So I think we're solidly red here in the state of Florida. If you look who's been moving into the state, if you look at who's registering to vote, it's like 3-1 Republican over Democrat. So I'm not concerned about these liberals from New York moving to the state of Florida and bringing their politics. It's actually the people that are fed up with New York that are moving to Florida because they're tired of the politics. So we got to focus on the states that he has to win. I think Texas is in the win column. Florida is in the win column. You got to focus on Michigan. You got to focus on Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Wisconsin, because he's got to win one of the two of those if he doesn't win Arizona and Nevada. Or if you can pick up in Arizona and Nevada, you only need one of those based on the Electoral College. So in my opinion, I'm not a leader in the RNC, but that's where they should be focusing their efforts. All of our resources should be going there and helping him win those swing states. You shouldn't be spending time in states that you know you're going to win. We should be focusing on those states.
Donald Trump saying he's going to do a Trump rally in Madison Square Garden. Would you go to that?
I don't know. I'm afraid that Alvin Bragg would try to make up some ridiculous crime of me just a conservative being in New York, and they would just arrest me for that. And the next thing you know, you're dealing with made-up charges.
Star witness Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen. Look at the integrity of our case. Congressman, it's always an honor to have you on the program. Thank you so much for your fight and for your clarity. I really hope that Trump selects you as the special prosecutor to oversee the DOJ firings and criminal referrals.
I would enjoy that. I think we need a strong leader in those positions.
Yeah. All right. Great. Clip it. Send it out. Okay. That's our endorsement. Our show's endorsement. Special prosecutor, Congressman Stube. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Ooh, baby. We're about to get to sleepy Joe Biden's very sleepy interview with CNN. Why are we not sleepy on the program? You know, we got like our sweet brigade mug here, available again at the Benny store at BennyJohnson.com. We're not sleepy because this delicious mug, and it's almost empty right here. You can hear the jangling of the ice, is filled with Blackout coffee. Blackout coffee is what we drink to have the energy to fight the communists. The Blackout Coffee Company is family owned. It's based right here in Florida. They do not use communist coffee beans. Okay, it's pure, sweet, black American juice right into our veins. It is caffeinated, and it is incredibly potent and powerful. These people know what they're doing. Please go support them. There's a lot of woke coffee companies out there that hate you. Okay, Starbucks, by the way, is like completely in complete collapse and shambles. So what happens when you let these monsters take over your company? It'll never happen at Blackout Coffee. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Use the coupon code Benny for 20% off your first order. blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Be awake, not woke. Joe Biden wasn't awake, by the way. In an interview yesterday at CNN, I couldn't believe it. We put it up on social and it flew. What were the numbers? I don't know. ALX. We put it up on social and it just was absolutely thermonuclear because CNN decided to bring something more than a feather to touch Joe Biden with. CNN did like this really fascinating sort of gloves off moment with Joe Biden, which is fascinating. Biden got completely and totally roasted over the economy on CNN specifically. Joe Biden was able to then lie with impunity to CNN. Funny how they don't interrupt him, screaming over him. Remember Caitlin Collins, Mr. President, like insulting and talking over him. But the clips here are pretty wild. ALX says it's done 3.5 million views off our X account alone, 8,000 reposts, 34,000 likes. Whoo, baby. We got some salt for you here. I hope you've saved up your salt shakers. Here we go. Get my salt shakers. Got the salt shaker. This is the official Benny Brigade salt shaker. Even got our look on it. It's so awesome. We thank you to the brigade members who made us this salt shaker for our salt of the lib, salting of the lib. Ladies and gentlemen, CNN roasting Joe Biden like directly to his face for like minutes on end. I cannot believe they even aired this. But for some reason, somebody, some switch was flipped at CNN, and they're like, okay, like bare knuckle, like gloves off, bare knuckle. You can go after old man Biden. This is elder abuse. Okay, this is just, it's all that it is. Please join me in salting the salty, salty, salty libs, ladies and gentlemen, of CNN as they interview Joe Biden and actually take him to task over his failure on the economy. Here we go.
So when you talk about the economy, of course, it is by far the most important issue for voters. It's also true right now, Mr. President, that voters by a wide margin trust Trump more on the economy. They say that in polls. And part of the reason for that may be the numbers. And you're aware of many of these, of course. The cost of buying a home in the United States is double what it was when you look at your monthly costs from before the pandemic. Real income, when you account for inflation, is actually down since you took office. Economic growth last week, far short of expectations. Consumer confidence, maybe no surprise, is near a 2-year low. With less than 6 months to go to Election Day, are you worried that you're running out of time to turn that around?
We've already turned it around. Look at the Michigan survey. For 65% of the American people think they're in good shape economically. They think the nation's not in good shape, but they're personally in good shape. The polling data has been wrong all along. How many, you guys do a poll at CNN, how many folks you have to call to get one response? The idea that we're in a situation where things are so bad.
Okay. So, wow. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to see. Keep the salt flowing. I'm looking. We got the comment section up in front of us. Keep the salt flowing. We got more salty clips for you. Okay, we're just gonna do the whole thing is gonna be a salt outlet. We don't gotta play the stinger every single time, but like the whole thing. Keep the salt flowing. We'll put up salt every single clip. We got more clips for you from this. But I do got a question for you. Did Joe Biden just have like a root canal? Which Joe Biden is this? You got to plug this guy back into the Roomba the Roomba. Which Joe Biden? Which one did they trot out? This is wrong. This is the wrong Joe Biden. It's probably the wrong. Like it's probably the wrong. My wife's a big Home Alone fan, and there's like this scene where Harry's been in Home Alone 2. He's been hit by the bricks. He's been hit by all these bricks. You remember Kevin McAllister? He's throwing bricks off the top of the building, and it's hitting Harry and what's the other guy's name in Home Alone? Harry and Marv. It's hitting Marv. Thank you, Alex. It's hitting Marv, and they're hitting him in the head. And with every brick that hits him in the face, he starts going. He stops being able to like make words. This is what it sounds like. This is what it sounds like. Joe Biden sounds like Marv. Okay, on the sidewalk in New York, Kevin McAllister chucking bricks from the rooftop. Random thing there. I'm sure Jerry's already making the meme. Okay, Jerry, if you're not already making me, let's make the meme. Maybe we can get it by the end of the show. Here we go. Joe Biden on the most important date in his life, January 6th, okay, Fed's direction, not even being able to remember that date. Here we go.
He told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Mr. President, quote, "If everything's honest, I'd gladly accept the results of the election." And then he continued, though, with this. "If it's not, you have to fight for the right of the country." How seriously do you take that threat?
Seriously, just like I did January 6th. The guy is not a Democrat with a small d. I mean, he is the idea, look, you can't only love your country when you win, number one. How many court cases do they have? Supreme Court cases. They all said this is a totally legitimate election. This is Trump. I mean, it's saying whether he may not accept the outcome of the election. I promise you he won't.
Promise that he won't.
He won't.
So,
and which is dangerous. Look, I travel around the world with other world leaders. You know what they all say? Not a joke. 80% of them, after we have a major meeting, they go, we've got to win. My democracy to stay. Their democracy to stay. Because when you think of the things he's saying.
Dana Carvey has a really good Joe Biden impression. And the Dana Carvey Joe Biden impression is just never being able to complete a sentence. Never being able to like complete the way that I would say like Joe Biden is a criminal. He deserves to be prosecuted. The reasons why is because of all of the criminal things he has done. Like, for instance, let me name them. Let me alliterate all of the things that Joe Biden has done. Like the conclusion of a sentence, like the ability to just, this is the end of my idea. Let's move on to the next idea. This is why I'm telling you, they got to recharge just this Joe Biden. Get rid of Biden number 7. You got to bring in Biden number 4. Biden number 4, he's the ringer, okay? That's the guy they gave all the cocaine to before the State of the Union. Bring in that Biden, okay? Get this guy out of there. Next lizard person, skin suit. Come on, baby, come on. Genocide Joe. This is something that they call. Joe Biden. Not me. I don't call him that. The left calls him that. The left hates Joe Biden, I think, as much as we hate Joe Biden. There's a funny clip where like the Palestinian side and like the pro-America side are all chanting FJB together. That went viral last week. Joe Biden was asked, like, everyone hates you. So, like, can you complete a sentence about that? Can you respond to your own party hating you so much? Watch.
it breaks anyone's heart to look at it. And obviously, we've seen that frustration here in the U.S. on college campuses. And Mr. President, I have signs at college campuses. Some say Genocide Joe. Any of us that have gone to those campuses, sometimes we hear that chant. Do you hear the message of those young Americans?
Absolutely, I hear the message. Look, two things. First of all, there's a legitimate right to free speech and protest. There's a legitimate right to do that, and they have a right to do that. There's not a legitimate right to use hate speech. There's not a legitimate right to threaten Jewish students. There's not a legitimate right to block people access to class. That's against the law. That's against the law.
Okay. Again, it is remarkable listening to Joe Biden and hearing the inability to do anything other than like grasp. It's like swinging from one limb to the next. Like he can't put the sentences together. He can't finish the thoughts. It's just corporate pablum. He's just using the repeated lines. It's really remarkable. The line about Donald Trump and election victories and the outcomes of elections, it's just remarkable listening to the way, the cadence that his brain works, because it's just a line that has been fed to him, and his desperate attempt to like leap for the next line that was fed to him. He forgets what he's saying to like get to the next talking point. That's how broken this guy is. We're not done yet. We're not done. And ALX, can you give me that Dana Carvey clip? It's really funny. It's like Dana Carvey and David Spade, and they're doing a podcast, and it's like his impression of Joe Biden. It's really good. It's pretty funny. Here, by the way, also is the both sides chanting FJB at each other. Do we have this one, Eric? Okay. We mentioned it. Here's both sides. They asked him, "You're Genocide Joe, huh?" And Joe Biden says, "Nobody has the right to hate speech." What are you talking about? Like, I'm not advocating for hate speech, but what do you mean? There's no such thing as speech laws in this country. We have a First Amendment. You old jackal. What are you talking about? Nobody has a legitimate right to hate speech. Actually, the founder said the most important speech is the speech that offends me and that I disagree with. That's actually the speech that's deserving of protection the most. What are you talking about? Oh, you're Stalinist. Oh, your brain's gone. You have no functional brain stem. Got it. You have like the little nodes on your body with the electric pulses to like keep you just awake and operational. Okay? Plug the Roomba in, baby. Plug it in. That was his response. That was his response to chants like this. do our best to not have F-bombs on the program. Sometimes we let one slip. And they were chanting FJB. And these are both sides, the far left and the right, which is now just the center of the country. Okay, it's not even the right. It's just the center. We are now the centrists. We are what you would call like a classic liberal, somebody who just is liberal in nature. These people, they're not liberal. They're fascistic. These people are fascists. Liberals are people that like are open thought, free speech. That's what a liberal is. We're like, these are the like hippies from the 1970s. Like, hey, freedom, man. Let people like kind of like live, you know, and like keep the government out of everything. The CIA is bad and the FBI is bad. Like, that's us now. Isn't that weird? It's true. Okay, so who ushered in the fascistic moment? A guy named Barack Obama. Barack Obama is a hardened Marxist. He learned Marxist theory, Saul Alinsky style Marxist. He has like he's not liberal at all. He's illiberal. Okay. Barack Obama's the guy pushing all of this, running all of this stuff, running all these operations. Barack Obama's the guy who hired Jack Smith in the first place to get rid of his political opponents. This is something that they've done before. This guy, he's a criminal, okay? He's evil. What's Barack Obama's advice to Joe Biden? You know, they're very close, even though they hate each other. Here you go.
When you look at your campaign at this moment, you know, it's tight. It's tight. And Barack Obama, your predecessor, of course, he has said that this is an all hands on deck moment. That's how he described it. So he believes your rematch with Trump is going to be incredibly close. It certainly looks like it will be. What's his advice to you when you talk to him?
Keep doing what I'm doing, and to make sure that what his advice is, the same advice I sort of gave him when I was vice president. Look, you've got to organize, block and tackle. People knocking on doors, putting up signs. We have over 1.5 million individual contributors in America. More than ever happened before. 97% less than $200. We've opened 100 headquarters across the country. He's opened none. We have 5,000 paid staff. We're doing the block and tackling. We're going out and making sure that we knock on doors, get votes out the old-fashioned way. That's basically because it's awful hard. And we have raised more money than any president has to this point in the campaign. And so I think I'm feeling good about the trajectory of the campaign. And you know as well as I do, most people don't really focus and make up their mind till the fall. There's a lot going on. And we'll see what happens.
As I watch this kind of stuff, a couple things come to mind. One, Joe Biden is such a monster. You know, Joe Biden's his wife. Like, she knows what's going on. Like, she's committing elder abuse here. What's going on is elder abuse. Joe Biden can barely talk. I mean, can barely, like, I project my voice. I get it. I'm a particularly energetic guy. Always have been. But like, Joe Biden can barely speak. I mean, you can barely get the words out. He can barely talk. He's like, he's doing this ASMR whisper. Can't talk. And you can see his eyes, they're squinting. He's wincing. He's trying so hard to like put a sentence together. He's wincing, trying to remember like little facts. Like talking about like how popular they are and how many campaign offices they have and how much dark money they have. And talking about how like people haven't made their decisions. They have made their decisions, dude. Have you seen your polling numbers? Have you seen your approval numbers? You're the most unpopular president in your or my lifetime to run for office. Going back to when they started the damn thing, the gosh darn thing, polling Ike Eisenhower. You're the most unpopular guy to ever. Like, people have made up their minds. They've made up their minds. And they don't like you. And in fact, they don't like you. They think you're a scumbag. And they hate your policies, okay? This is why, this is a really truly a remarkable clip. This is Dana Carvey. It's Dana Carvey on what looks like the Tonight on the Jimmy Kimmel's show on ABC. And when a comedian like Dana Carvey, who's been grandfathered in because he's such a legend, he can actually go out and make fun of Joe Biden. And the crowd roars. Now, how is it that Jimmy Kimmel's crowd in downtown third world Los Angeles, stacked with libs, are like laughing at this impression of Joe Biden, which is dead on, like ringer impression. Dana Carvey, a legend. I mean, it's because the guy is a national joke. He's an international joke. World leaders meet with me and tell me that shut up. It's like it really like the guy's gone. The guy's gone. Here's the impression I was telling you about. This is my favorite Joe Biden impression that I've seen on camera. Dana Carvey, the legend.
But Biden came out as a really sleepy, sweet grandpa, and he was like, he's always repeating this story, you know. Yeah, I went to Scranton. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania. My dad lost his job. No joke. I'm not kidding around here. No human being in the world thinks that's a joke. Nobody. Is anybody that lost his job? What? And then, my dad, then he would do the number thing. Number one, the one part. Number two, what the guy said. Number three, you know the drill. Come on. No, we don't. Now what he does is he kind of whispers and then he yells. If you know, I think it's a wonderful move. Don't you love it when he's like, we know how to get natural gas. Because we can get it. We know how to get it. That's what we do. We take the people that run the public, the Pirates of the Caribbean.
I have a very poor Joe Biden impression, but like it has to start with taking off the glasses, right? That Dana Carvey did. Let's start, and then you need like take off the glasses, droop your mouth, right? So it's like kind of like hangs open, all right? And then you just don't complete a sentence. And it's actually quite easy. It's a step-by-step Joe Biden impression. Just don't. This is fire, and the firefighters. It was always the fire. So we didn't start the fire. That's right. You gotta make sure to report about the Palestinians. It's like so. It's actually quite easy. You just turn your brain off. Do an impression of somebody with dementia. There are people who wish they had dementia. There's one person who particularly wishes that they have that they could forget in a comedy club claiming to be a Joe Biden staffer. So this happened in Manhattan with a comic in one of Manhattan's sort of legendary comic clubs, where there's this comic who, by every measure, like he's a comic in Manhattan. This is not some MAGA guy. This is not some Republican. But somebody in the audience, and this clip's going thermonuclear viral, somebody in the audience had the temerity to, the bloody cheek to say, I work for Joe Biden. Ooh. Again, this person wishes they had dementia. They wish they could forget this. This is going viral for all the wrong reasons for this person. This is how unpopular Joe Biden is. Biden's there bragging about like, we got all this field staff and field officers. Like, what would you say to somebody if they came up to you and said, I work for Joe Biden? Like, what would you tell them? Oh, if you dared do that when you're checking out for groceries, or if you're paying for gas, or if you're trying to find a house, what would you do? How would you treat that person? Yeah? Look at what happened in New York with a comic who found out there was a Biden staffer in the audience. Check this out.
You work for the Biden administration. Is your job to wake them up, or what's your job? Hey! There's a war! Okay, what do you do for the Biden administration? What a shit show of a job you have. I can't believe you admitted that in front of all these people. You have the freedom to lie. You could have said you were a hooker and they would have been proud of you. What do you do?
I travel to southern states.
Hey, listen, I know you guys like Trump, but Biden, I mean, wow. Are you ready to be unemployed, or what's your vibe?
Oh yeah, all right, here we go. Can we put up the guy? This is the guy's Instagram hand. We should totally give this guy a shout out. His name is Josh Ocean Thomas. This is really funny. Let's follow this guy. This is hilarious. This is from his Instagram. Good for you, man. I have zero indication that this guy is like some type of MAGA or conservative Republican or anything like that. He's just like speaking He's just like speaking on behalf of like everybody in the country. Like everyone hates Joe Biden. Everybody hates Joe Biden. Joe Biden said, you know how the country, Jack. How's you unify? You're like, okay, you've unified us. We all hate you. You've unified us. All right. Okay. We hope you had a good laugh on this program. We certainly do. We sure as heck love doing this show and going live, and we have a bunch of like really fun things planned throughout the rest of the year. We're gonna have a wild rest of the 2024, 150 days. It's insane. Here's the poll results, by the way. Do you think that Donald Trump and Joe Biden will debate? Got to punch in on those ones. Let's zoom in a little bit here. The answer is 91% of our polled said no. Sadly. And I you know what? I would tend to potentially agree with you. I think they're going to figure out a way to stop these guys from debating. Why would they allow it? Why would they allow it? Well, it should be something that happens, but there's no way they're going to let it happen. So that's 91% say that unfortunately no, they won't be debating. I hope they do. I hope they do. Give Joe some of that stuff. Give Joe the cocktail before the State of the Union. Whatever you gave him before the State of the Union. Give him that stuff. Let's go. Let's have it. Let's see it. Okay, let's see it. Come on. Let's do it. Verse of the day here, baby. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge. Whoever hates correction is stupid. Proverbs 12:1. Discipline, ladies and gentlemen. Knowledge. Let's be disciplined through this election cycle. Let's be knowledgeable. Let's be certain that we can truly win this thing. We can actually do it. We can actually do it. We can stop the madness. We can. The best Donald Trump line against Joe Biden, and they had the signs printed out and everything. Too big to rig. Too big to rig. I have a lot of thoughts on this, but the truth is that when you are disciplined, when God has put you on a path in life, and he has different paths for all of us, and when you see the task before you, when you fight for that, when you show up, when you bring energy, when you are simply righteously like a showing up. Amazing. Parenting. It's all about just showing up. Showing up. That's it. That's all that's required of you. That's all your children want. You just show up. It's amazing how much of that is just simply discipline and showing up, and you'll be rewarded. It's incredible. All stress in life, all anxiety, if you're suffering from stress and anxiety, so many people are, most people are, the way to cure it is to take action. The thing that stresses you out, just take action on it. Just do it. Just begin. Just start. Whatever it is. Just flex your muscles, get up, and begin. And then the stress goes away. It's remarkable. It's like that's what stress is. And so take action towards that goal. What stresses me out? Well, leaving a horrible, degraded, collapsing country to my children and cursing them. That stresses me out. And so we are taking action on this program. We are having discipline. We love knowledge. And ladies and gentlemen, we want to win. And we want to win. We want to win. And so we march forward. We have faith in God. We know that God has providentially set this country up time and time again against all odds, and this is no different. So that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. We don't think that the choice has ever been clear. March with us. It's your boy Benny. We're going to victory. See ya.